Welcome, everybody, to a presentation today on LinkedIn Recruiter, the most important hiring tool that you have never seen. My name is Jason Sanders. I'm here with Jonathan Phillips. And welcome to the session if you're here live or if you're listening to a recorded session, which we have on YouTube and also on LinkedIn. How you doing, Jonathan?
Doing great, Jason. Always a pleasure.
Good. Excellent. So let's talk for a minute about what this is for. And this is really a special event. It's going to be a half an hour, which is longer than we usually do. And it's because it's really in depth about one of the primary tool that we use for recruiting. And it's something that if you've never seen before, I think you'll be surprised at how we use it. This event is for mid to senior level professionals who want to get more attention from recruiters on LinkedIn. And we will be showing you this tool, not giving you advice on writing your profile. You can kind of work that in to what you see and sort of draw from that to write it. But that is not what this is. This is really a demonstration of this tool and why it's so important and how we use it. So by way of introduction, my name is Jason Sanders. I lead Flycast Executive Search. We are a boutique firm focused on the consulting and the software industries. Personally, have helped global companies like Bain, BCG, and Accenture and others find executives. But more importantly, for this session, I have spoken with, counseled, and placed thousands of executive job seekers over a long career. Jonathan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm CEO of Magellan International. And for about 30 years, we've been helping consulting companies hire partners and build groups. About the other half of our time is with large industry clients that are either building a services organization or trying to grow an emerging tech business. Also have had the pleasure, especially over the last few years, of working with even more executives on figuring out what to do with their careers. And I think for all of you wondering how what we do works, what Jason's going to demonstrate today is going to be extremely helpful.
Yeah. And let's just say hi to some people in the room. Make sure that we've got some people joining us today. Anybody out there that wants to say hi? Let's see your name. We're not going to see your smiling face. But I really hope that's the case because we're going to need a volunteer a little bit later in the program. So if you can see me, if you can hear me, raise your hand, say hi, tell us where you're from, anything like that would be great to see.
Always happy to involve our audience members.
Yeah, we're definitely interested and looking forward to having you participate as well. So what is LinkedIn Recruiter and how do recruiters use it? Basically, what LinkedIn Recruiter is it's the commercial version of LinkedIn. It provides a lot of tools. Hi, Pedro. It provides a lot of tools for recruiters to find people for the searches that we're working on. It has a lot of features, folders, search folders, all kinds of things that allow us to find people using more keywords with greater reach, and it has a lot of depth. As part of this section, we're going to do a live demo, and we're going to need a volunteer. Don't volunteer yet, but we will need a volunteer. When we ask for that, you have to be willing to be visible because we're going to, ask you some questions. And so you're, if you're looking for a job search and you need to be confidential, please don't volunteer. We need to be able to have some, you'll be a public in this room. So just something to keep in mind. Jonathan, I think you and I use LinkedIn a little bit differently. How do you use LinkedIn?
So I use LinkedIn with my other recruiters, and I have 3 or 4 other recruiters in Magellan. And so we share a LinkedIn Live account where all of our projects show up on one page, and I might demo that later. But what's terribly important is getting order out of chaos. So we use LinkedIn mirroring every project that we use in our CRM database internally. And anytime your status changes, like if you say you're now open to work and you've ever turned up in a LinkedIn search we've done, we get notified. So remember that it isn't just a static thing we do, but when we create these searches, they remain live for us. And LinkedIn will update them. And frankly, my database actually connects to LinkedIn and will automatically update your profile in my database along with keywords and things that are very important to you so we can stay in touch.
Yeah.
It's a dynamic relationship.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what I do, I think one of the hallmarks of what we do. Oh, and by the way, I guess we're on a slight delay because a whole bunch of people have said hi, which is great. Hi, Claudio, Tony, Renal. I hope I got that right. Chris, LinkedIn user. Oh, that's Lori Britt. Oh, that's interesting. So for those of you that need to sign in confidentially, there is a way to do that.
Yeah.
I had a question about that. I don't really know how it's done, but you can do it. Harrison, San Francisco, Pedro, I think you said hi before, Oksana, Supriya, and LK from Connecticut. Thanks all for showing up. It's good to see you. So when I use LinkedIn Recruiter, what I typically do is look for the most people possible in a particular area that we're doing a search in, and then narrow it down. And then reach out to, larger group and then smaller group and smaller. And that's kind of, we sort of do I don't know if it's an inverse funnel or what. You can use it in different ways. You can look for a few people and network. And in that case, it gets more precise. Do you use a precise method, Jonathan?
We do start narrow to broad. So we'll start narrowly with people that are first level connections that clearly have keywords that tie them to projects we're working on. Those conversations are fairly advocative. We just say, hey, how are you doing? Let's catch up, share the project we're on, ask you for referrals, see how you're doing. So being a first level connection broadens the relationship. But we do focus on those first level connections just because they're much more productive early on. Then later, my recruiters will go far broader to people that are second, third, or even not connected at all. And those are generally through keyword searches.
Interesting. Okay, so it's about time for a volunteer. So I'm going to ask somebody to kind of raise their hand. What we're going to do is we're going to look for you. So we're going to take a look at your profile, and then we're going to use LinkedIn Recruiter and see if we can find you using search terms or the area that you're interested in being found for. So for example, if you're a project manager in the financial services field, then what we'll do is we'll run searches for financial services and project management and, maybe New York. We may look for other things, and we'll see how you show up in LinkedIn Recruiter. And so you're a bit of a guinea pig. We're also going to ask you to join us here, LinkedIn user. We're going to need to get who that is. So thank you for that. But I don't have your name. And we're going to bring you into the room as well. So I'm going to need to get you some information. LinkedIn user, can you give me your name? I want to find you on LinkedIn, and then I'll get this done. And Jonathan can tell you a little bit more about the tool.
So a lot of times when we start out on a project, and Tony, who's with us today, knows that we'll generally have a particular function, and artificial intelligence and big data analytics is a hot topic for Magellan. So we do nominate people from LinkedIn that we keep, and we tie them to certain things we need to stay abreast with. And we'll call people like Tony and say, hey, what's going on? What are the new emerging trends? And so often it allows us to build a deeper relationship, especially not just from a first level connection, but from a connection of expertise. So in your profiles, if you are expert at something, make sure those words are in your profile. Make sure the things that people know about big data analytics, for example, are in the accomplishments in the various places where you've worked. And don't hesitate to get detailed when you're building your profile. 4 different jobs in a particular company, go ahead and fill that out in LinkedIn. Make sure LinkedIn sees everything you've done at a particular company, and not just, worked a whole bunch at one company and then just list a few things that you've done, but provide the detail. It's very helpful.
Great. Okay. I have sent an invitation to Lori Britt. You should have that in your inbox in LinkedIn. It's a link to join us here in the room. So please take a look in your email box and see if you can get that and hit that link and join us. And we'll give you just a couple minutes to get that done. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to bring up what the LinkedIn Recruiter looks like and kind of walk you through that. We'll look forward to having Lori here in a minute. If she doesn't, we have a backup volunteer, Supriya. So let's see what happens. Let's see. So I'm going to do a screen share, and this will be.
Yeah, and I'm happy to share a screen with how we manage projects and how people sort of filter to the top in our LinkedIn searches as well.
So here is Lori. However, what we're going to do is we're going to show you the LinkedIn Recruiter tool. Let's see if we can get to our, let's see, where are we? So this is kind of what it looks like. And I think I see Lori joining us, so I'm adding her to our stream. Hi, Lori. Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for volunteering.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Lori, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to introduce yourself just briefly?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Britt. I don't know why I'm showing up as anonymous on LinkedIn. I don't think I have a privacy filter, but we'll work that out later. I am in career transition, as most of you on the call are, looking for a role in supporting digital transformation, open to an array of industries, but I'm really focusing in on healthcare as my primary target.
Okay, great. So let's see how we do. Now, this is Lori's profile, just so that you can see the difference. This is what Lori looks like in LinkedIn Recruiter, and you'll notice. I mean, you've got her basic information. It's not really as sort of laid out a little bit differently, right? So you don't have the background and all that stuff. She's in a couple of projects that I have, which are related to this workshop. And there's some information about messages that we sent. So this is an organization tool, but you can also see that some of the basic things that we're looking for. So we're going to look for Lori. Let's see what we can do. And Lori, you said we're going to see if we can get her into this folder with these CEOs. That's our objective for today. And the way that we're going to do that is by looking for her in this talent pool. Now, the talent pool is basically an advanced search tool. These are all of the different variables that we can use to find people. The reality is we use less than 10, maybe 5 to find people. But if you wanted to, you could look for people using any one of these tools. So, or any one of these fields. So let's see, what are we going for? You said healthcare, Lori. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, which actually you're not going to see that in my profile right now because so I'm taking a class in digital transformation and health. You'll see, you might see healthcare as a client, but I know that's something that I need to beef up. I'm taking a healthcare class now, and I didn't want to start promoting that until I had the certification done.
Well, it's going to come up. It'll come up, Jason, because she has the word healthcare in her education section of her profile. So the keyword healthcare will show up if you look for it.
And you are seeing, where do you see that, Jonathan?
It's under her education section on her LinkedIn profile.
Hofstra here, Hofstra,
under
Harvard. Harvard transformation. Okay. It's a little bit buried, so we'll see how that works. Let's see. So healthcare, what are the other components? You said digital transformation?
Yeah.
Is that right? There's a way to sort of show you some notes. So digital transformation might go under a keyword. Right. So now the idea is that we're looking for somebody in digital transformation. So as a recruiter, now I'm looking for somebody in digital transformation. Now, if I'm looking for just that, we are going to find 1.5 million people, right? So obviously we're narrowing it. As a recruiter, I'm going to narrow it 1.5 million people, 630,000 people are open to hearing from me, presumably. So we're going to need to get more specific. To get to healthcare, there are two ways that we can do this. One is industry. Now, the industry is going to be related to, where is it? It's going to be a part of your profile. I see it in the LinkedIn profile all the time. Industry.
Yeah, it's towards the bottom. She does show up digital transformation.
I think you only get to choose one industry on your profile. Let's see. You know what? When we do this, this is where we see it usually.
It's a little different here.
Yeah, it is. We'll just do active talent. And I'll show you where this shows up. I'll show you where I see it. New York City metropolitan area, retail. Tampa, software development. IT services and consulting. business consulting and services. You get the picture, right? So there is some place on your profile. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but if you do a little bit of digging, I'm sure you'll find it. And you have one shot at that. You can't be in multiple industries. So Lori, do you know if your industry experience is listed as healthcare?
No, it would probably be listed as consulting.
Okay. All right. So then now it's possible that I'd be looking for a consultant in healthcare. Is that the kind of position that you're looking for?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Is it IT consulting or management consulting?
It's actually transformation, including IT. So process, strategy, organization structure, all around transformation.
So what I'm asking you about there is more how you classify yourself on your LinkedIn profile. So you can see these different industries are in a pull down list. So there are only so many that you can do. What you're describing were skills, which we can get to. But for now, we're going to look just for industry. And management consulting is one, which it sounds like that's more, they changed it. Look at that. Or maybe I spelled it wrong. Consulting, IT services and consulting, business services and consulting, operations. These are actually industries, right? So you can pick an industry and on your profile, you will have a place where you pick that particular industry. Do you know what it is?
I would say more business consulting and services.
Okay. Do you know if that's in your profile? Because
they've changed this, Jason. It's no longer immediately visible, but you're both right. You get to pick one of the 148 industries. And I think, Lori, you have to pick it when you create your profile. You can edit your profile and probably change your industry selection, which I would recommend you do to change it to the industry you want to work in. But Jason brought up a very important point before, which is regardless of what industry you pick, if we choose it, we will also, particularly at Magellan, we will look for industries as keywords to often make sure we don't miss people who don't fill out profiles knowing that search firms are going to look for them this way.
Right.
Absolutely. So I'm going to look at mine so that you guys can see providing services. No, it's funny how it's a little bit buried. It's a little bit buried. Experience, education, volunteering, skills, recommendation, publications, languages.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't see it. It's really interesting. It's there. It's important. You can see. So, but in this case, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to not go after an industry, although it is important if you have the ability, or if you can find it on your profile, like I can, then to check the industry that you're interested in. Okay, so we're going to take that.
Right now, it's I'm just looking on my phone to see. Right now, it looks like I can only have one.
Yes, you can only have one.
And it's showing up as business consulting and services.
Yeah, if you edit your profile in LinkedIn, your profile, you hit the little pencil on your profile, that's where they've now put industry. You can edit it and change it, which again, I suggest you do to show aspirationally where you want to go, but that's where you pick your industry vertical.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the location that you're in or interested in?
I'm in and interested in.
In where?
New York metro area.
New York. Okay. New York City metropolitan area.
Or northeast. I don't know how detailed it gets, but I would say northeast U.S.
Let's just go with New York for now, just for the demo. It's a broad enough area. So, and is there a particular job title that we should be looking for? This would be a job that you get, not one that you have had. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm looking for
on your profile. It would be on your profile somewhere. So
yeah, I'm looking at like managing director or partner, managing principal, managing consultant, that type of role.
I misspoke. We're gonna look for something that's in your profile, not what you were looking for.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That is what we're doing. So we're not going to get as specific as what you have here, but we're going to look for either managing principal or vice president. Both of those will have to come up. So our titles will be managing principal or vice president. Vice president is pretty broad. but we'll go with it for now. Let's see if there's anything else. Skills and assessment. Sometimes we use skills and assessment. Now I'm skipping these. When I skip these, that means that those aren't important to me as a recruiter in looking for you. Right? It doesn't mean that you don't have it. It doesn't mean that it's not important to you. It only means how important it is for me when I'm looking to identify somebody for a search that I'm conducting. Workplace types I'm typically not interested in, but those would be hybrid, on-site, remote. Skills and assessments I may or may not be, depending. Companies I certainly could be, especially if I'm looking for somebody from a larger company. If I'm looking for somebody from a major consulting company, a strategy consulting company, I'm going to put Bain, BCG, McKinsey in there, and a couple of their competitors. Schools I didn't usually care about. Year of graduation I do. This is sort of the dirty little secret, right? I mean, and I'll show you what this looks like. We only have 29 people coming up in this, which is pretty, 42 people total. Let's see how if you come up in this search or not. It'd be interesting to see. 98 people, 42. Do you know if you're looking on? Wait a minute. Why is that? That's strange. Okay, open to work. Okay, these filters. I don't want to get into a lot of depth with it. But without the filters, we see 224 people. With the filter, that means open to work is shown on your profile, and it will be on the profile. It would be right here. You see this?
Yeah.
Open to work. If that is checked, you will be one of the 98. If this is not checked, you will be one of the 224.
Right.
Okay. So you want to check it if you're looking actively. And let's see. So we have 98. Now we get 25 a page. So we can actually go through this fairly quickly and see if you show up. Now I'm going a little bit faster than I might normally go because I'm looking for a name, but I go fast through this thing. I mean, I'll go through a page of this in a minute, maybe two. Supriya, welcome. Let's see. By the way, that doesn't mean that Supriya gets the job and Lori doesn't. But you do want to try to show up higher in the rankings, because what happens is that after a while we get tired of looking at people that are in a long list. So if it's a 500 person list, we're maybe do the first 200 and then move on to a different set of search terms.
And LinkedIn will put you higher in the list the more of the words you fit on the criteria on the left.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Going through. Uh-oh, Lori. There's only one more page. I'm sorry for going through this so quickly.
That's okay.
Okay. There's only one more page. So something is missing here. And we've only got a few people. This search gives us probably fewer than we would ideally like, but not so much fewer. 100 people is not bad in a search. So something is missing. So I'm going to say job titles. Let's see. You have managing principal and you have VP instead of vice president. And this is also a slash, so it may be that. So let's take these out. That's going to give us way many more people. So we've got 1,500 people. We're not going to go near that. But let's see what other kinds of criteria we could use. Degree, seniority.
But you would recommend not using VP instead of having vice president written out.
Probably. I mean, if you ask me, I might not say it. But it looks like you aren't coming up. If you want, you can change it. We'll run the search again. We'll see if you come up.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. And let's see. Years of experience, years in current position, years of experience. So you see how this goes up, right? So now one of the things that can be problematic if you're in the 30 plus year experience group is the number jumps. Typically. So if we're looking for somebody that's 5 to 7 years experience, you don't care. You don't want to be found in that group. But if you are looking in the area of 20 or maybe even 15, but let's say 20 years experience, With 20 years experience, 547 people show up. If I drop this back 1 year, it's 412. So you've got another 25% just by jumping this year, which tells you something about how to structure your LinkedIn profile. We'll leave that with you for now. But that's just something to say. Now, would it be fair to say that you have 30 plus years experience?
Yes.
Is that clear? Okay. So let's see if we can get you in that, because that gives us then a smaller group, 135. And I'm going to go through this real quick. Jonathan, do you want to talk a little bit about how this is used?
It's often helpful when I counsel people on careers, very senior people. They're often astonished by my inability to find them on their LinkedIn profile until they do what Jason's doing here with each of you, which is you actually call a search firm, you actually go through the process and make sure your profile is filled correctly. Most of the time, it turns out, and it's particularly true with people who've been around a while, they just don't put all their previous jobs. So they'll put in their last few years and it'll show that they only have 10 years experience when they've actually been working for 30 years. So how you fill your profile and how you become visible, it's often sort of the first sort of triage I do with somebody who's trying to retract their career or pivot to something else, to take this kind of process, take them through this and show them what their profile looks like when you go looking for it. It's extraordinarily helpful. The other thing to do is to pick someone you admire, someone you respect, someone you like, someone whose job you'd like to have. Look at their profile and copy it. Not if it isn't true, but clearly follow their formats. There are lots of learnings. And Jason and I have a woman, Linda Lupatkin, that we know well, who does this, preparing profile professionally. We're going to have her attend one of these also for people that want to see, how do I optimize my LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. I'm looking forward to having her here. We found you, Lori.
Okay.
Okay. So there's going to be plenty of time for questions, but we're going to start wrapping up. But you can see that we found you in the general geographic area with the industry that you have, with the keywords that you have, and with 29 to 30 years experience. Another way that we get to this experience is the time that you get a degree. That's another way that we can do it. And let's see, where is it? So there's seniority can get us there. There's type of degree, but there's the year of degree. I don't see it in front of me right now. Sometimes these things move around. Anyway, you'll just have to trust me with that. Year of graduation. Yeah, it's right here. So you can add a graduation year range and you get a similar kind of thing. And we might be able to do that, but that also runs, and Linda could talk to us about that. That runs by your most recent degree. So if you graduated undergrad, 20 years ago and you just got your MBA, it's going to read you as having just a couple of years experience, and a couple of years past graduation. So that is that. And we did our search. We found Lori. And then what would happen is we would save you in a project. We could send you a message here, a direct message to you via InMail and all of this stuff. And then you would get into our pipeline. So I hope this has been helpful. Like I said, this was not a demo of how to do a LinkedIn profile. We will have that available for you, but this was really more just kind of getting a peek under the hood. Let's see. Let's see. What else do we need to do here? Lessons that you can take away from this. Anybody want to share anything that you're taking away from this, or any questions that you have? We're at the bottom of the hour, just about the bottom of the hour. So if you can't stay with us, we certainly understand. We appreciate you showing up, and we hope that you come to our next presentations. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on YouTube. We're broadcasting there live right now, and there is a channel. It's under my name. So if you do a little searching around, you'll be able to find the histories or the previous episodes that we put forward. Okay, so let's see if we have any questions or observations.
Could I jump in? So Michael Spence has asked a question that I think is extraordinarily important. Think about the things you want to do. Make sure that your accomplishments contain the keywords that you see in job postings on LinkedIn. So look at LinkedIn jobs, look at what you want to do, type it in, and see in the job descriptions what are things like digital transformation or big data analytics, whatever the keywords are. Make sure those keywords appear in the accomplishment section under the jobs where you did them in LinkedIn. It's also important to put your most relevant and significant and high quality accomplishments as high up in your profile so they look recent and relevant on LinkedIn also. And remember, LinkedIn is basically an advertising and marketing tool for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lori, I forgot to say thank you very much for volunteering, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It was very helpful.
Yeah, good, excellent. We'll see you soon.
We have a number of other questions, Jason. Do you see them on your comments?
Let's see. How many previous jobs should we list when you're zooming? Let me see if I can go back through this and see. This role, project manager. Okay, that's not really a question. Active talent. What does active talent mean on the search page, and what does that reflect? You know what? Maybe I should do the screen share again and show you what that is in reference to, in case you didn't catch that as we were doing the screen share initially. So when you do a search, you get these results in Talent Pool, and there are these open to work, active talent, rediscovered candidate, etc. This is people who may have shared a profile update, a public resume on LinkedIn, or work at a company that may be experiencing layoffs. So it's something that LinkedIn does to read your activity and the activity around you.
Yeah, based on public information. So if it's known that a company's having layoffs, that'll trigger an active talent response.
Yeah. Let's see.
Someone asked a lot. We've had a couple of people ask about year of graduation. You want to talk about that? I'm happy to.
Yeah. Why don't you do that, and I will run the search with year of graduation.
Year of graduation is also public information. People can look and see what year you graduated from college. But what's important, if you look in jobs, 10 plus years experience in whatever. So often that will say, well, okay, let's look at people that graduated with at least 10 years ago, because we want people with 10 plus years experience. And for most companies, I'd say 99% of them, they assume your year of graduation is the year you started work, and they look for 10 plus years as 10 years plus from the date you graduated. So the graduation date is a proxy for years of experience. I think, Renal, that might answer your question.
This is going to be interesting here, because you can see that Lori has a graduation date of 2005, a graduation date of 2007, and a graduation date of 2023. And my guess is she's going to show up in 2023. So let's see. We've got...
That's an interesting test.
Yeah. So let's see if we'll just go to 2005 and see what we get with that. See if she shows up. Well,
if you don't put the year of graduation, often if your years of experience cover it, you're going to be fine. But often in the interviewing process, if you make it to the third or fourth stage and you're about to be a finalist, they're going to want to see probably proof of degree receipt just in their normal qualifying for candidates. So if you don't put it on in LinkedIn, it's likely to come up during the interview process anyway.
Year of graduation. Yeah, go ahead.
These are good questions.
I'm gonna see if we can.
There's no way to finesse age and money. What you can do is you can leave some things out of your LinkedIn profile to encourage more interactions. But my experience is you can't change who you are, and you should just embrace it and be that. That's a slightly sensitive discussion, but again, we have another speaker coming, John Firth, who's going to talk about what effect does chronology have in your career and in how you're found and how people look at you for work. Very sensitive subject where we all understand it. We're going to have John Firth come and talk about, the implications of, let's say, the year of graduation. But you are who you are, and I think it's important. I don't know how else to say that. It's too deep a subject to go into beyond that here.
Yeah.
I just would say.
So we found Lori. Lori graduated in 2023. You're younger than you thought. I personally use this year of graduation on occasion. It's inaccurate sometimes, as you can see. Years of experience is better generally, but this can be a proxy for years of experience. And so it's just something to be conscious of when you're creating that and when you're listing your graduation years, if they're far apart like that. Let's see. Do we have any other questions in here or comments?
Ones in here. So there's how many previous jobs should you list? Again, public information, most of it. I'd probably list all of them within reason. It does depend on how long the job was, what the intent of the job was. But generally, just sort of say what you've done and try not to filter too much if you don't have to. But yeah, it's important to do that. What stands out on a page when we look at it, how high you are in the return and how many mutual connections we have. I'll often look at that really, really quick. And then I'll want to see in the last 3 jobs sort of what you've done. So your accomplishments in the jobs, that's something I look for all the time.
Okay.
Michael?
I think you answered that question in this, but I still want to take a stab at it for Marino. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering Mr. Widge. So Mr. Widge asks, when you're zooming through a page a minute, what exactly stands out to you? I'm typically looking for something that matches as close as possible to what it is that I'm looking for, right? So if I'm looking for a vice president of technology in the healthcare industry, I'm going to be looking for that title. I may be looking for director of technology in the healthcare industry. That comes out in 2 places. So we're taking Lori's, one of them in her title, that's difficult to control, right? Especially if you're working for an organization. You don't want to write your director if you're a VP or vice versa. You can't fudge that too much, a little bit, but not too much. But this piece is called your headline. And that stands out the most. You can see it's the first thing that you see after the person's name next to their picture. And that is what jumps off the page. So if you're going to optimize anything, that's going to be what it should be. And that would be one, big takeaway from this. And this is where it is on the commercial or on the consumer version of LinkedIn. This is where it shows up. And you can see, Lori's taking good advantage of that real estate. She has said, and these are the things that I look for and that I think would be important to highlight, the industry that you're in, the function that you do, and your level. And you can see at least a few of those. And I think that the digital transformation at the front of her headline made her show up higher in these search results when we did it by years of experience. We still have an issue with title, so something to be aware of. But I think that helped bring you to the first page. Let's see. Next questions. I think you answered how many previous jobs should we list?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yes, about that. Grad year. What did you search for to find this group? That's from Adriana, and I'm to invite us all. Okay, that's okay. So to invite you all to this group, there are a couple of ways. So one is we have our own database of people with a MailChimp. We send out an emailing every so often. We don't do it every week, but every so often we send it out announcing when we have a presentation that we really want to make known to people. So if you got the email there, then that's your answer. You're known to us. We have your email address and we sent you a note. If you were on LinkedIn and you got a note from me, what I did, and which I continue to do, I'll show you this little under the hood thing that I was not planning to do today. I have a bunch of projects listed, one of which is, there's attendees. So I started doing this. It's difficult to keep up as people are showing up. But this is to promote the career workshop. And here, what I did was I searched all of my first level people, and I looked for people that have open to work listed in their profile. Now, I only have 544 because people that I already sent something to are hidden, but this is how I did it. So each person here says they're connected to me, and they say they're open to work. And what I do is I sent everybody a note, and I have to stop doing that now because LinkedIn slapped me on the wrist for doing that. But regardless, that's how I got a lot of people here initially. And I said, look, it lists you as open to work. And a lot of times people don't know that. They're not even aware that they have that box checked. And so, I figured that there's some value to that and people knowing that they're being seen. And so I sent that out. That's how I invited a bunch of people here. recently. And then another question, I think this is going to be your last one, from Mr. Widge. Thanks, Jonathan. What if I recently have gotten an MBA and have a bunch of experience before that, though? I think we covered that, but
honestly, just go ahead and put it in. And again, Adriana Delore asked a similar question in a different frame, which is how to be more searchable and more findable. Keywords are critical. So if you've done things that are interesting to you, make sure those words are in your profile somewhere. The other way to become more visible is to connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn. For whatever reason, your return on searches is partly a function of how well we're connected, how many mutual connections we have. So finding people that are sort of in your sphere of interest and connecting to them, getting to know them, whether it's search firms or just other people doing what you do, those connections can help you simply become more visible. You can also post and repost articles on LinkedIn. Make your profile alive. Make it robust. Find articles you're interested in, repost them on LinkedIn under your profile. That does add keywords, but it also adds activity level to your LinkedIn profile, which makes you more findable.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really good question for Linda as well. You think she can handle that? How to invite people?
She loves that. You know, how do you make your LinkedIn profile come alive? She's all
beyond just what the words are, but how to actually use it.
Well, in fact, you and I need to change our LinkedIn profiles. I mean, Linda's assessment of us was revealing as well, things that we can do.
Let's see. So I have got a question here from Supriya. Should you add a public resume to your profile? I generally don't look at people's resumes. I don't even actually know that they're there a lot of times. I suppose, it has to do with the function of a resume. Resume is a quick way to screen somebody in or out of an opportunity. Generally, it's a good idea to try to talk to people, network with people when you're looking for a role, regardless of, even whether you're, whether that they have something specific for you. You don't want to take that too far, but if you can have conversations with people, it's a good idea. So the resume does not necessarily do that for you. What you can do, though, by posting it publicly, right? Because it tells somebody, oh, this is what they have. I can eliminate that person. So if you want that to be the case and be more specific, then it probably would be helpful. You could also put something up that really is very, sort of thin, like not a lot of information, but is still a resume to get yourself listed as active talent. Personally, I haven't used that filter. I use the open to work filter, but I don't use the active talent filter. So that's, that's just me.
Tony asks about JobScan. The most important comment I want to make is we never assume we know all the tech. We talk a lot about LinkedIn. It's hot and topical. It's sort of like a locus of activity, but there are other software tools, and JobScan is a good example of how can you make yourself more visible. I would avail myself of those tools, especially when it says get started for free. It doesn't hurt to learn. If it works for you, that's great. We're evaluating what we want to do with JobScan here, but I've got another client in the Career Compass product I sell that is using JobScan. It's been pretty helpful. That's something else Linda Lupakin can talk about.
Yeah, good. Okay, she's gonna have a full day. JobScan, Agile methods, Agile methodology, or just Agile. Okay, so that's a kind of an interesting question. So first of all, Tony, you can put them all in there, right? I mean, you can work that out. A lot of times there's a place. Let's see if Lori did it. You can, here, she put this in, specialties. So you can put Agile methods, Agile methodologies. The search function in LinkedIn here is not really a specific Boolean search. So Boolean search is something that uses wildcards. It's very specific in the way that it looks for things. You can find Boolean search in Google. You can find people that give tutorials on Boolean search. LinkedIn uses sort of a modified Boolean search. So it should pick up those different terms without having to put them in a bunch of times. Agile, though, ought to get you there. I think just
LinkedIn
that.
will generally err on the side of more is better than less. Whereas SEO, search engine optimizers on websites, that logic is quite different. The Google logic is very different from the LinkedIn logic.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Great questions, y'all. Thanks.
Yeah, really good. Good questions. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We hope to see you next time. Next week, we're going to be, Kathy Palma is going to join us. She is both an executive recruiter and a coach. She's particularly good at coaching people to do well in interviews. And she has a very interesting topic. It's something that I'd never really thought about before, which is a service-focused interview.
Yeah.
So really about how you can address the needs of the interviewer more than yourself, what you've done, and sort of presenting your credentials. That would be really interesting to see. So that's next Thursday. We hope to see you there. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.
We're always around.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
You.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. That was fun.